This video was made in collaboration with Narutopedia. If you'd like to learn more, check out the link in the description. The life of Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke is one of the last surviving members of Konohagakure's Uchiha clan. After his older brother Itachi slaughtered their clan, Sasuke made it his mission in life to avenge them by killing Itachi. He is added to Team 7 upon becoming a ninja, and through competition with his rival and best friend, Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke starts developing his skills. Dissatisfied with his progress, he defects from Konoha so he can acquire the strength needed to exact his revenge. His years of seeking vengeance and his actions that followed become increasingly demanding, irrational, and isolates him from others, leading him to be branded as an international criminal. After learning the truth of his brother's sacrifice, later proving instrumental in ending the Fourth Shinobi World War, and being happily redeemed by Naruto, Sasuke decides to return to Konoha and dedicate his life to help protect the village and its inhabitants, becoming referred to as the supporting Kage. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of Sasuke Uchiha. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Background: Sasuke is the second and youngest son of Mikoto and Fugaku Uchiha. They named him after Sasuke Sarutobi in hopes that he would someday be just as strong of a shinobi. Sasuke grew up in the shadow of his older brother Itachi, a natural prodigy who many in the Uchiha clan in the village would constantly compare Sasuke and any of his accomplishments to. Sasuke himself adored Itachi, never passing up an opportunity to spend time with him. Although Itachi welcomed his company, letting Sasuke watch him train and taking him on adventures into the forests, Itachi in return rarely helped Sasuke himself become a better shinobi. When asked, he would often instead poke his forehead and promise to do so some other time. Sasuke found this annoying, but didn't allow it to blemish his high opinion of his brother. On entering the Konoha Ninja Academy, Sasuke proved to be the standout of his class, consistently getting top grades. However, he could never meet the same milestones Itachi had set, resulting in their father paying Sasuke little attention. Aware of this neglect, Itachi, despite being increasingly busy, tried to stand in for their father by giving Sasuke the recognition he craved, at times even blackmailing Fugaku to spend time with Sasuke. As time went on, Itachi started becoming distant with and cold towards their family, culminating in a falling out with much of the Uchiha clan on their suspicion that he'd killed his best friend. Sasuke did not understand the reason for this, but he didn't mind the side effect. His father began taking an interest in his development. Fugaku taught Sasuke how to perform the Great Fireball technique, which he mastered in a week. Fugaku stated his pride in Sasuke for this accomplishment, but at the same time encouraged him not to follow in Itachi's footsteps. After a long day of training, Sasuke returned home one night to find the streets littered with the bodies of the Uchiha. He rushed home to notify his family of the Uchiha clan massacre, only to find Itachi standing over the bodies of their parents. Sasuke tried to solicit help and comfort from Itachi, who responded by using Tsukiyomi on him to torment him with visions of him murdering their family. Horrified by what Itachi had done, Sasuke pleaded for an explanation, to which Itachi replied that it was to test his own power. Fearful that he would be next, Sasuke tried to run. Itachi cornered him and explained that Sasuke, as he then was, would not be worth killing. Only by becoming stronger, such as by acquiring his own Mangekyo Sharingan, could he prove a worthwhile challenge to Itachi's abilities. Before leaving, Itachi encouraged Sasuke to hate him, to desire revenge, and to gain power from that. Sasuke immediately followed through, pursuing Itachi and his newly awakened Sharingan to attack him. The attack failed and Sasuke passed out, but not before glimpsing Itachi crying. Sasuke would forget this had happened for many years. Sasuke, now one of the last surviving Uchiha, was alone. He spent the first few days after the massacre wandering his family's compound, reflecting on the people who were now gone, killed by Itachi. Sasuke decided to do what Itachi had instructed and dedicated his life to vengeance, having no other interest than bringing about Itachi's death. He threw himself into his studies at the academy, making no efforts to form friendships and ignoring all the girls' attempts to gain his affection. One of his classmates, Naruto, disliked Sasuke's cool personality and the attention he received, and developed a one-sided rivalry in his pursuit to prove himself just as good as, if not better than, Sasuke. For his part, Sasuke thought little of Naruto and was usually annoyed by his outbursts, but would at times secretly smile at how hard Naruto worked because of him. Ironically, for all the attention he received, Naruto was the only person among his peers who understood Sasuke due to the painful experiences he had. Personality. Sasuke was a happy child, eager to please and be worthy of his clan name. One of Sasuke's most significant bonds is the one he has with his older brother Itachi, who by merely being mentioned can elicit strong reactions from Sasuke's otherwise calm demeanor. Sasuke adored Itachi when he was a boy, enjoying his company above all others. As an infant, he would cry whenever he was held by someone besides Itachi, and would immediately be happy once held by his big brother again. When Itachi murdered the rest of the Uchiha clan, Sasuke was crushed not only by the loss of his family, but also by what Itachi had told him, that he had never loved Sasuke. Sasuke devotes years of his life to avenging their family by killing Itachi, which Itachi encourages whenever they meet. At the same time, however, he became determined to do so through his own means, including rejecting Itachi's instructions on obtaining the Mangekyo Sharingan for power, simply to not give Itachi the satisfaction. With his new outlook, he became cold toward others, unmoved by and uninterested in what they do or think of him, choosing instead to keep to himself. He stopped using honorifics, something considered rude in the Japanese language. His only goal in life became to take revenge for his clan's deaths by any means, even if it meant acquiring power that wasn't his own. In his pursuit for power to take his revenge, whenever he meets new people, he makes an evaluation of their abilities. Those he perceives to be weaker than himself he arrogantly disregards, giving them little attention so that they won't hold him back. Those he perceives as stronger he fixates over and tries to surpass. As a member of Team 7, he is repeatedly exposed to Kakashi Hatake's philosophy that there is strength in teamwork. For a time, Sasuke accepts this, accepting it firsthand on several of Team 7's missions. He even became attached to his teammates and started to forget the vengeance he craved, achieving after so many years a measure of happiness. However, between both the manipulations of Orochimaru and meeting Itachi again in Part 1 where he was and is utterly defeated, Sasuke decides to sever all ties to his village in a single-minded pursuit of power, leaving Konoha to focus solely on himself. Kakashi tried to help Sasuke realize the contradiction in his viewpoint. He's driven to gain power because he lost his family, yet sacrifices the family he still has, Team 7, in order to gain that power, which did have a profound impact on Sasuke, and would have turned him away from the path of darkness had he had not been influenced by the Sound Four. So focused on vengeance, he willingly accepted Orochimaru's offer of power, seeking out the Sannin to train Sasuke in all he knew, even allowing Orochimaru to experiment on him despite knowing the man was using him for his own gain. Ultimately, however, Sasuke decided that letting himself be used by Orochimaru would be a disgrace to his clan, turning on Orochimaru and acquires new teammates with abilities that could further his goals. Sasuke initially retrained his morals by setting a firm no-kill policy for himself and his team against those unrelated to his revenge, and openly expressing disgust at Orochimaru for his horrific experiments. In addition, despite becoming cold towards his old team, Sasuke did become attached to his new teammates, still subconsciously holding a notion of teamwork, comparing them to the bond he had with Team 7, and pushing himself to extremes to save them. After Itachi dies in battle and he learned that the hateful older brother that Itachi had seemed to be was all an act and that, in truth, Sasuke was the most precious person to Itachi, his murder of the Uchiha clan was done on the instructions of Konoha in order to protect Sasuke. Sasuke becomes overwhelmed by this discovery and starts conspiring against Konoha and all its citizens for ruining his and Itachi's lives, knowing full well it isn't what Itachi would want him to do. As time passed after this and his hatred increased, Sasuke's fall to darkness steadily eroded much of the goodness he once had. He would without hesitation challenge and even slaughter any and all who stood in his way, left Jugo and Suigetsu without caring for their fates, essentially sacrificed Karin to strike down Danzo Shimura, and even tried to kill Team 7 when they impede or attempt to dissuade him from his objectives. He also allies with Tobi and Akatsuki when their goals align, but left them without comment when he no longer needs them. His abandonment of all his former loyalties and his criminal acts convinces former classmates that Sasuke is beyond salvation. Tobi determined that Sasuke was carrying the entirety of the Uchiha's hatred on his shoulders, and this caused Sasuke to gain an unwavering and twisted pride of his clan, deeming anyone who possessed his clan's abilities without being one of them as trash and imposters, and became increasingly irate and unstable when witnessing it. After his final encounter with reincarnated Itachi, between learning of Itachi's struggles in life and knowing that Itachi made the choice willingly to become the villain for the sake of peace, Sasuke is left uncertain about what course to take. From long contemplation, Sasuke came to a warped view of helping the world to ensure no further conflict between them. If a single individual, what Sasuke calls the true Hokage, is solely responsible for making the difficult decisions, killing and the like for the greater good, then everybody will be unified in their hatred of that individual. He volunteers himself for that responsibility and plans to eliminate what few friendships he still has to ensure no turning back. But Naruto, by refusing to give up on saving Sasuke from darkness, demonstrates that their friendship is too fundamental to who Sasuke is and that it cannot or should not be broken. On coming to terms with this, Sasuke stops fighting the many bonds he's made and chooses to die so the curse of hatred would die along with him. However, after further convincing from Naruto, Sasuke chose to live to find redemption instead. Afterwards, Naruto returns Sasuke's forehead protector, which Sasuke keeps on him during his long travels as a symbol of their friendship before passing it on to Boruto. After the Fourth Shinobi World War, Sasuke began adopting some of Itachi's views. He decides to fight for Konoha's future so that Itachi's actions aren't made meaningless and bases his understanding of the Hokage around the decisions Itachi made. He also starts poking the foreheads of others as a sign of affection, something Itachi always used to do with him. While still not very open with his emotions, Sasuke became more committed to make connections with people. This included his former teammate, Sakura Haruno. While originally their relationship was mindless infatuation from Sakura for his good looks and indifference, if not blunt irritation from him, over time the two came to better understand the other, and true respect was formed between them. After Sasuke was defeated by Naruto to let go of his hatred, he sincerely apologizes to Sakura for how much he hurt her, to which she tearfully forgives him, allowing them to reconcile. They later maintain a long-distance relationship while he pursues a journey of redemption. They later marry and have a daughter, Sarada. Sasuke still tends to be emotionally distant with his family for the sake of his duties, though he feels a strong connection to them when they are apart. As a father, Sasuke loves his daughter dearly and will go to great lengths to protect Madara. While Sasuke is happy in his marriage to Sakura, he enjoys teasing her by declining to show her affection. At the same time, he regrets not having been a more attentive father to his daughter, having missed out on much of her childhood and by extension not knowing much about her, showing a noticeably unsure side when trying to be close with Sarada. During his time as a wanderer, Sasuke was a recluse, keeping contact with people to an absolute minimum, and maintained his strong sense of pride. He is willing to help the villages if their problems are beyond their expertise, but ignores their requests if facing insignificant issues. Stemming from his inspiration of Itachi protecting the Land of Fire from the shadows, he also sometimes acts independently on his own and helps the Five Nations, but does not even bother to interact with anyone during such instances if not needed. At the same time, he is willing to acknowledge significant events as he sent a note congratulating Naruto for his wedding. Acknowledging his mistakes and once free from hate and vengeance, Sasuke reverts back to the type of person he was prior to the massacre, being kind to others and displaying a sense of humor, but maintaining his aloof exterior. Although publicly regarded as a hero for his role in the war, Sasuke feels that his crimes and imperfections outweigh anything heroic he has ever done. Ashamed of his past actions, Sasuke referred to the person he used to be as an entirely different person when he told Boruto about his past actions, albeit without directly telling Boruto he was referring to himself. As an adult, Sasuke becomes wiser and more mature, as well as genuinely warmer and caring, though his tendency to appear deadpan remains. He does retain his habit of insulting others, though it is usually more comical than cold, and mostly aimed towards Naruto. He has also shown a degree of humility, openly admitting to his failings, particularly as a family man. Although he fulfills Itachi's wish for him to protect Konoha, doing this from the shadows and investigating the mysteries of Kaguya leave him unable to spend time with his family, to the point of even failing to recognize his daughter, Sarada. Regardless, he is protective of Sarada and is very supportive of her goal to become Hokage and not end up like him. Even more, Sasuke loves his family dearly as he tries to spend time with them when he is able to come home and expresses pride in his daughter's growth and achievements. At the same time, Sasuke retains some of the ruthlessness he had during his criminal days. Sasuke was initially hell-bent on eliminating the clones of Shin Uchiha despite their visible fear and hesitation towards the end of their battle, and was only convinced of sparing them by Naruto, and when the notorious criminal Shojoji remained arrogant and fearless when interrogated by Sai Yamakana and Ibiki Morino, Sasuke's sudden arrival and presence were enough to intimidate Shojoji into revealing details about Kara, with Sasuke mentioning that despite changing his ways, he'd still retained his reputation of being unmerciful and brutal towards criminals. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.